music for day 3. Welcome to day 3 of our awesome adventure. And today we are picking our story back up with King David. These are our awesome King David crowns. If you missed yesterday's video, we will link it at the end. Oh, look at mine. My head is too round for my crown. So we're picking back up with King David. We talked a little bit about King David yesterday because we said Jesus was descended from King David's family. And I thought maybe if some of us aren't super familiar with Bible stories and who King David is, it might be helpful to point out, if you ever heard the story growing up when you were little, about David and Goliath, where David's this little guy and he takes on this giant Goliath and he takes him down with a slingshot. David from David and Goliath is King David. He grows up to be King David, and he's this really epic king, and he ended up writing some parts of the Bible, and one of the parts of the Bible that he wrote is the book of Psalms, and Psalms are just songs essentially. And as you if you ever look at the book of Psalms, you'll see that King David is this super dramatic guy. Everything he does is really passionate and dramatic. But in this particular psalm, he is writing about a prophecy, which is a glimpse into the future about Jesus coming. So,
the stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing, and it is wonderful to see. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
And that's Psalms 118, 22 through 24.
Mm-hmm.
And he's referencing
a prophecy that was actually from Isaiah. Prophets are people who actually give God's word to the masses, basically. And so Isaiah, this prophet, actually gave this message to the people about a cornerstone in reference to Jesus who was coming. And it basically says, "Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Look, I am placing a foundation stone in Jerusalem, a firm and tested stone. It is a precious cornerstone that is safe to build on. Whoever believes need never be shaken." That was Isaiah 28:16, if you're looking that up later. And so David is referencing that in his psalm, and basically what it's referring to is Jesus. Because if you read through the New Testament, there's a lot of places where Jesus actually refers to himself as the cornerstone. And he does that when he's talking to the Pharisees and stuff like that. So what we wanted to do is actually spend some time today thinking about the fact that Jesus is referred to as this cornerstone, which is this awesome piece of building that is your foundation. And if the cornerstone is solid, you're good to go on your building.
I actually thought of a cool story to illustrate why a foundation is so important. When we were in Tennessee last year, we stayed in this cool little cabin, and it sort of hung over this cliff that just dropped straight down, and we had this beautiful view of the forest and the mountains in the distance, but we were hanging over this dramatic cliff. And if it weren't for this foundation of this cabin that we, the whole cabin was resting on, hanging over this cliff, we would have just been sliding into this cliff. So you really have to have trust in the builder who built this foundation. Otherwise your entire structure crumbles, and in this case it would have been us sliding down a mountain in Tennessee,
which wouldn't have been so romantic.
No, it wouldn't have been so good for our vacation. So that's why it's really important to have trust in your foundation, that you have a really good foundation. And that's why it makes a lot of sense that Jesus is this foundation, this cornerstone that this prophecy was about, and we put our trust in him. He is our cornerstone.
So what we wanted to do is spend some time today, day 3, was actually talking to God and just thanking him for that foundation, asking for strength, because sometimes it's hard to put your trust in him. Ask for strength to give your trust to him and help you with trusting in him, because it's such a huge thing. We even went through a study that was talking about trusting God or pleasing God, and if you trust in God, you're doing the same thing. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, so we didn't have the materials needed for our awesome activity, we did our little crowns yesterday. Today's activity is building a gingerbread house. building it. You start with the foundation. See? Smart.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't have like the stuff we needed for a gingerbread house. Like I've made them before out of just graham crackers and stuff. So I'm gonna get the stuff tonight, and we're gonna build them tomorrow, and I'm gonna put it in tomorrow's video. I'm gonna link in today's video what you need to make your own gingerbread house, and we'll show you how ours turned out tomorrow. And I'd like to see if you make a gingerbread house, how creative you can be. So while you're making your gingerbread house, remember the foundation is the most important part.
And remember that we're still focusing on hope because we're lighting the Advent candle still. If you saw last week's video, we talked about the Advent wreath. Day 2. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and light the...
reminders of my computer, sorry. All right.
We're going to light the hope candle.
We're lighting that every day this week. That is this week's candle, the hope candle. Our remembering that Jesus is our hope, and that fits in really good with the whole trust thing, because we trust that he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do. We have hope in that.
And if you're still weird about like what are you talking about hope, go watch day 2. We talk about it there.
Do we?
Hopefully.
I think in day 1 we do.
In day 1.
One of those videos we talk about hope. We're not sure which one, but just watch them all. And
scavenger hunt.
Then you're sure to find it. So we will pick back up with you tomorrow on day 4.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.